Hello folks, this is the new Kia K4, perhaps a natural successor to something like the Kia Ceed. This is a rival to cars like the VW Golf, the Skoda Octavia, the Toyota Corolla, etc. And it seems to be priced reasonably well and seems to offer quite a lot for your money. From £26,000, there are three trim levels. You've got Pure, GT Line and GT Line S. So you can get a 1 litre TGDI mild hybrid with 113 brake horsepower, 0-62 in 12.2 and 49 to 50 MPG. If you're an MPG hunter, that's the best one to go for. But if you want a bit more performance, you can get a 1.6 litre TGDI petrol, 147 brake horsepower, which this one is. And this one's got the 7-speed DCT automatic gearbox, or you can go up to 177 brake horsepower with 8.4 second 0-62 time and about 40 mpg. Because it's a Kia, it obviously comes with that brilliant 7-year 100,000 mile warranty, and as I said, starting from £26,000, it's not shocking when it comes to the price. Although if you want to check out a lease deal on one of these, click on the link to leasing.com that's in the video description, or scan the QR code that's popping up on your screen right now. Okay, so in the front cabin, it's very conservative, but it's not lacking for technology. I mean, we've got these two screens up here that look fantastic. You see them across the Kia range now. The infotainment system I think is very good. I'm not doing a deep dive in this video, but my chum Alex over on the Interface Car channel has done a deep dive. So go and check that out. I'll put a link in the video description. He goes into these things in great detail. So if there's something you want to know about the system, it'll be in Alex's video. Aircon controls are up here, and they can be slightly obstructed by the steering wheel, but they do stay there, which is fairly good. It means you're not kind of rooting around on the main infotainment screen to change the temperature, for example. Automatic shifter here. I miss things like this. It looks a bit old-fashioned now, a big kind of shifter handle, but I like them rather than little twiddly switches. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A couple of USB-Cs down here and shortcut buttons here, which are physical buttons, and a nice dial for the volume on the stereo. Steering wheel is the modern standard Kia steering wheel, which is to say absolutely brilliant, because you've got a nice blend of rocker switches and physical buttons. We've also got your drive mode button down here, which makes perfect sense to stick that on the steering wheel, doesn't it? And we've got some paddles for this automatic gearbox. The driver information display is very informative. It's quite configurable, nice and clear, and everything's got a reasonable sort of feel of quality about it. Materials in this are also quite good. You lose it a little bit on the door bins, but probably not too worried about that. And this model's also got a wireless charging pad, and although this design is not groundbreaking in any way, it's very much function over form, and this is a family hatchback, and I think it should be function over form. Everything's where you want it to be, and this will be a very easy car to live with. There's not going to be any learning curve when you get into this. You're going to just intuitively know where to go to handle your everyday controls, and I think there's a lot to be said about that, particularly in 2026 when a lot of manufacturers have gone the other way. In the back here, it's really quite impressive, but it is very dark, so I hope the camera's picking this up okay. We've got kind of a moulded seat back on the seat in front. Gives you loads of leg room. So I've got that much leg room, and I'm about 5'9" and a bit, so that's not too bad, and about that much headroom, so you'd be fine in here at 6 foot. We do have a nice squishy, they're really good, the Kia armrests. I do like those, with a double cup holder. Two USB-Cs down here. The passenger seat has got a load net on the back of it, but this one hasn't. And material quality is nothing amazing in here, but it's pleasant enough. But your rear seat passengers are at least going to be very comfortable. Now, if boot space is important to you, you really want to go for one of the 1.6 models, because with those you get 438 litres of boot space, as I've got here. And it's a really nice, big, wide opening. It's quite a low load floor, but I like that because it means your shopping's not going to fall out. It's just not ideal if you've got something really heavy to put in, I guess. If you go for the mild hybrid models, that's the 1 litre TGDI, you lose a bit of that floor space because it's got the mild hybrid battery under there, so that you then drops down to 328 litres. So it is a bit of a difference. Personally, I think this is absolutely fantastic and really suits the size of the car. And for that, I'd probably be more inclined to go for one of the 1.6s. but you are going to lose out a bit on the MPG if you do so. Generally, folks, when you get behind the wheel, you're not going to be all that disappointed. It's a very nice car to drive. The steering's a little bit vague when you're in eco mode, for example, but I've gone into sport mode now, and it really sharpens it up quite considerably. The suspension's also really nicely done. It's a nice blend between soaking up the worst of the imperfections in the road and actually still being nice and compliant in the bends. And even though it's a car that hasn't got bags and bags of acceleration, you can push on a bit in the bends, and it's quite enjoyable to do so, more so than you might expect from, you know, what appears to be a sensible, fairly conservative family hatch. It is a nice car to drive. This 7-speed dual clutch transmission pairs up really well with this 1.6 engine. This one is the lower power of the two 1.6 options, but it feels more than adequate, I must say. I've left all the beeps and bongs on, as I do in all my videos, by the way, folks, but you can switch those off by hitting the shortcut button on the steering wheel and just turning them off on the screen. It's not too arduous a task. One thing that could well be coming across in the video is that it's very dark in here. We've got a dark interior, dark seats, and a very dark headliner as well. And on a glum day like today, it's not sort of brightening my mood, shall we say. Some people will love it like this. And that's despite, by the way, the fact that we've got really good forward visibility and actually really good rear visibility. It's only in the rear quarters that you're lacking, because there are some fairly sizable pillars there. Of course, we've got reversing camera and stuff that does a great job, which means that that's not particularly a problem. But yeah, it's a little bit of a dark cabin. As you'd expect in a Kia, we've got these wonderful blind spot cameras that appear on the dash when you turn the indicators on. It seems like a gimmick to some people. In practice, it works brilliantly well, and it means you can check your mirror, check your blind spot, without having to really sort of crane your head around or anything. So it's one of those things that is actually practically very, very useful. And the way that Kia can often make very new things seem very familiar is testament to the fact, I would assume, that they're very much thinking about the customer and the driver, rather than, you know, the whim of their designer who wants to make everything crazy and different for the sake of it being crazy and different. None of that here. And I'm delighted to say we haven't got any piano black either, which seems to be a plague that's sweeping across the car industry at the moment. This is not a car that's going to fill you with delight every time you drive it, but I think it's a car that's going to serve you very well and just go about its business. Folks, cars like this are sometimes really difficult to review because they do everything really well and nothing that badly, which gives you a bit of a quandary, really, because whilst this car is very, very competent and very good, there's nothing like standout about it, and there's nothing that bad about it. And that might be the perfect solution for you, something that just does the job and gets on with it in a unspectacular fashion. I don't know. If we go through the pros, it's got modern interior, modern technology in there. I think it's a good looking car for what it is. It does look modern. It doesn't look like something from yesteryear. Particularly the back end's quite striking, in my personal opinion. And it's a competitively priced for what is a fairly practical family car, particularly if you go for one of the 1.6s that's got that bigger boot. Although, as I alluded to earlier, you know, the MPG does take a bit of a hit if you're not going for that 1 litre mild hybrid. The cons, it's going to be more expensive than some of its rivals, but it's a Kia, and Kia don't really make bad cars. They also give you a very generous warranty, etc. So you probably should be paying a little bit more for it than some of its rivals. And, you know, the fuel consumption's not amazing. If you compare this to something like a Toyota Corolla, you're probably going to get 15 mpg more out of the Corolla. But, you know, you could argue that this is perhaps a bit more stylish, or you prefer the tech inside the cabin, the infotainment, etc. over the Toyota system, perhaps. What I will say to you is you definitely need to test drive one of these if you're in the market for any of its rivals, because it is very good. It's just not going to excite you, I don't think. Don't forget to check out that link to leasing.com if you'd like to look at the latest leasing prices on one of these. Please give the video a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I'll catch you on the next one. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.